I'd argue I was braver, bolder, not hoodwinked by a will-o'-the-wisp when a butterfly tumbled over my shoulder and I changed my name to Gillis Crisp. The old one carried too much pressure. I wanted something sharper, fresher. Why swallow the bullshit I've been told? I hated being pigeonholed. Crisp was what I got in the sweepstake to win the Grand National in '73. Almost assured of victory, his name became my only keepsake. Red Rum, improbably catching fire, overtook him at the wire. Anne was my angel, a Danish writer I met in Perugia in '86. With her, my days were so much brighter. We even agreed on politics. She was a miracle sent from heaven, and we got hitched in '87. We spent our honeymoon in Greece, camping around the Peloponnese. One afternoon, we tried more hitching from Megalopolis just for fun, and waited for hours in the sun. Anne's barely started bloody bitching when this red sports car strikes her dumb. Kalamata, here we come. After several days together, we sailed from Ancona to Zadar. Our last night in Belgrade, Anne asked whether I'd any ambitions to play the guitar, was my immediate only answer, although I'd once dreamed of being a dancer. The following day, I finally bought the 50 quid guitar I'd sought. In '81, I'd been enchanted Greek island hopping with Barbara Ann by someone performing Cohen's Suzanne. The wish I'd made would now be granted. All I'd wanted was to do exactly the same as he'd done too. Anne was returning to her studies in Aarhus and let me come along. We visited my Oxford buddies on our way. They had this bong of Afghan black the whole duration, which was for me a huge temptation. I duly got completely wrecked, which Anne could simply not respect. She wasn't someone to deceive me and told me straight she couldn't cope with witnessing me doing dope. I couldn't bear the thought she'd leave me, instantly resolved to quit, and never once regretted it. Aarhus was perfect for a dreamer. Live music in the bars all night. The Wednesdays with Ola Freema at Fata Eskel our delights. Saturdays, though, would take some beating. Back late, we'd always end up eating eggs and toast and cheese we'd dress with salt and pepper, onion, cress. And when we tired of seeing the city, we'd ramble south along the shore, Marcellus-Bor to Moesgor. The oaks on the cliffs so goddamn pretty. Learning Danish wasn't hard. I practiced it in our backyard. Everything was hunky-dory. I started uni in '88. Jakob and I did the zoo story. He played Jerry. It was fucking great. He soon turned full-time singer for Shirtsville, writing brilliant songs. It hurts still. He died of a stroke in 2014, far too early to lead the scene. Impossible now to uncover the scandal. He just left his wife of 20 years, Meda, from uni. Her replacement appears to have been qualified to handle emergencies. I'm simply amazed the story's somehow been erased. Anne's got herself a job. She started teaching west of Aalborg. Tough for us to suddenly be parted. I catch a virus, decide to stuff my stupid job, become the cleaner at her school, a great deal keener. Now I'm back with her again in our togetherness. And then the Højskole folds. 1 month's warning is all our tenants in Aarhus need. We pack with almost lightning speed, travel to Scotland the following morning, enjoy a holiday overseas, cycling around Arran in 20 degrees. I have been faithful to you, my language of my dreams. So Lim begins lament, poetry can bridge the gap between resolve and whim. She's visiting Glasgow for Writing Together, a conference for birds of a feather. We have her words, persistence and imagination, in her own hand. Another poet, Michael Glendenning, I know from Gibraltar in '85, is also here, about to arrive for painting as opposed to penning. Later, over at his flat, he reads us his poem. I'll treasure that. Fanners far from all the frenzy of big city life. I start to play in the pipe band, get friendly with Kenzie, find myself one autumn day listening to Burns, eating shortbread, drinking whiskey, fixing my bagpipes, thinking, if my old pals could see me now. A typical emigre somehow. My mother had claimed she'd one ambition, to see me playing in a tattoo. Missing Varda in '92, she witnesses the Fanner edition the following year. But the event in Edinburgh was what she meant. Anne's bought me a present, celebrating my HF Danish oral exam. She asks me, slightly hesitating, what grade did you get? I really am much better at writing. My accent's dismal. Some may say it's quite abysmal. This one's pretty important to us. My answer is, I got A+. I've never seen her so astounded. Quickly, she's herself again. Lucky I got your present then. Back on Fanner, a neighbour's confounded. A+ with an accent like that? That nincompoop should doff her hat. Got my degrees, now teacher training with Owe and Pelle, contrasting styles. The former's uplifting, the latter's draining. Any smart student would run for miles. His strategy's simple. He'll hardly ever pretend to be the least bit clever. A boring bastard, that's for sure, though obviously his motives are pure. Now, O is quite a different kettle of fish, certainly more my type. Provocative, not scared of hype. He encourages students to show their mettle. Happily for me, they're each assuring me that I can teach. I'm back in Oxford, on a mission, co-editor of Anglophiles. To realise my grand ambition, I'd gladly walk 1,000 miles. Prof. John McCrae believes I'm driven, no need for him to be forgiven. I go to New and bless his socks, the man himself, Robin Lane Fox. It's 17 years since he found my dwelling, disappointed that I'd quit. A lovely gesture, you must admit. He finds my history compelling, delighted that I've carved my way since I decided not to stay. Tony Harrison's The Toad of Work in Douglas Dunn's facetious scrawl. Who'd be a 60-year-old jerk in jeans and leather going from hall to hall with book in hand? Congenial as ever, he admits he's a menial, rushing away to the next on his list. Apparently he can't resist. Patience Agbabi's an inspiration, a powerhouse in red and black. Sit back, relax, let me take you back. In the beginning was creation. Bernard McClaverty's warm and bright, staying up with us half the night. I'm on the ferry, making faces. So Anne turns round to see the sprog. She's no doubt witnessed similar cases. It's not a baby, it's a dog. For Anne, it's quite a revelation, but little cause for celebration. Her zoophobia hasn't healed since cows attacked her in a field. Nevertheless, quite sedately, shortly after, she says we too should get a dog, and so we do. She loves our friar dog so greatly, she judges animals otherwise, and writes a fable the year she dies. There's no mistake, something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Anne is making sure it's not forgotten. Bent Benson is the hatchet man who sent the island of Fanner reeling. He's furious about her squealing. His mantra's been, this case is closed. She's prized it open and exposed corruption and deceit that stretches all the way to Christian's bore. Is that not what the press is for? If there was justice, we'd see her sketches, portraits, documents displayed, lit up on every street arcade. We make a beeline for their table, music teacher Peter and I, never dreaming that we'd be able to sit beside them on the fly. Stefan Brandt and Tina Dicko. They're only Denmark's Dylan and Nico. They've just performed for an hour for free for Erling Pedersen, Mr. E.G., who's just turned 60. Cue the stupid speeches nobody wants to hear. Stefan and Tina disappear. With regard to Tina, either Cupid stung me with a dart of steel or I was starstruck. Not ideal. We spent a decade restoring our villa, but were stalked by a neighbour. Until one day our lives turned into a real-life thriller. We'd had enough and ran away. In relatively swift succession, I succumbed to severe depression while Anne developed Graves' disease. Disaster comes in sets of threes. Witnessing each other stumble, numbed by the nightmare of it all, helplessly watching our helpmate fall, each praying that we wouldn't crumble. We needed a miracle in the end. Our civil wedding, time to mend. It made Anne stronger. It didn't kill her. I had a farm, I heard her say, in Africa, meaning the villa we'd had and where we'd planned to stay. She wrote a story documenting our adventures, reinventing Hans Christian Andersen on our square, the woman with the garden fair. But Karen Blixen was her hero, not least because she rose to be a frequent Nobel Prize nominee after being left with zero. The book Anne Bielder wrote herself is standing sublimely on my shelf. An American artist wanted to copy a flower in our garden, and the one she chose was a giant poppy. They thrive in soil with lots of sand. And subsequently, she donated her watercolor to us. It's dated June the 5th, 2002, and signed by Karen M. Eskison, who saw it again 9 years later, gracing the cover of Anne's new book. Perhaps she couldn't overlook how she became an illustrator. 11 years on, now she's dead. It's Fano, where her ashes are spread. My dad's intent on merrymaking, but no doubt crying underneath. He knows he's dying. Soon I'm taking my nephew to see Sunshine on Leith. Uncle Duncan, Jack asks, easy. Wasn't it a wee bit cheesy? The poor wee man, he's only 13. He'll not know what the proclaimers mean. Dad shouts out the 7-letter word in countdown, which happens to be funeral, unfortunately. For Julia's sake, the sooner the better. He's in St. Andrews, where she lives. A daughter's care is what she gives. We've had enough of feeling crappy, moved to Cebu in 2014 and promise each other that we'll be happy, the happiest we've ever been. The next 6 summers, we're both grateful, no longer stressed, depressed or hateful, although we have to say goodbye to Friar Dog and cry, cry, cry. It's lucky then we're about to travel to Athens nearly all of March by Hadrian's triumphal arch, instead of having to unravel. We spend 4 nights on Mykonos, 2 more than planned, but come across Hong Kong honeymooners, Philip and Zita, who've missed the ferry, as have we. They're clearly overjoyed to meet a couple like us for company. The next one isn't till tomorrow. Together we can drown our sorrow. Our mountain hotel's a great retreat. The manager gives them the bridal suite. Next day we sail to Santorini, leaving Mykonos behind. We're confident that they can find his bathing shorts and her bikini. 30 years ago, that was us. We got back home on the magic bus. Cancer came roaring round the corner, a bugaboo, a wretched imp the devil had sent to taunt and scorn a God-fearing Christian like me, a wimp, the sort of thing I'd always dreaded. Anne herself was level-headed. She did just as the doctors said, even as the cancer spread. Whatever they were diagnosing, Anne remained patient, all the while meeting the world with a sunny smile. She kept it private, not disclosing any discomfort, no big sobs, just wrapping up loose bits and bobs. Diagnosed with terminal cancer, Anne asked me what I'd like her to do with her remaining time. One answer: write that book and turn the screw. She's given an ugly Christmas present, chemo, then sepsis. It's unpleasant. The doctor's sure she won't survive, but Anne insists on staying alive. Now 6 months on, our bookshop's showing The Smiling Camel Comes to the Pond, a children's book yet one step beyond. Again, Anne Beelder's whistle blowing. Those assholes at our swimming baths are total fucking psychopaths. Watching Anne dying wasn't easy. We saw her off on Halloween. The weather that day, bright and breezy, just as my fallen angel had been. I'm dedicating my bereavement to celebrating our achievement. We worked in tandem to build a shrine. What once was ours is now just mine. With COVID rampant, I carry on teaching, lasting only 2 more years. Some students feel I'm overreaching, their parents quick to stoke their fears. The principal's new, a bit of a wanker. He'd be much better as a banker. Authoritarian sticklers for rules should not be running gymnasium schools. My students write to him complaining about me displaying my grief for my wife. What do they know about real life? It's hardly their words when they're maintaining they're mortified. I've glorified alcohol, madness, suicide. The principal, wet fart, Morton Other, would like to make the charges stick. He's classified me as a bother. He's no need of a maverick. So now he wants to have another teacher watch me like a mother. But that will only help cement the student's sense of discontent. January sees me resigning. If you distrust your employees, you'll quickly bring them to their knees. But nobody's going to catch me whining or showing signs of loss or grief. My one emotion's massive relief. For 14 years now, I've been hosting Shakespearean actor Kieran Jones. Please forgive me if I'm boasting, but all the students forget their phones. The man is such a multi-talent, not just funny, but also gallant. His workshops turn the students on to Shakespeare, though the bard's long gone. 5 months later, Stain from Varda messages me, Kieran's dead. Cancer, Kieran's recently said. He didn't want to make things harder, his mother tells me at his wake, and kept it secret for your sake. Barbie's gone and won a bloody Emmy for her Queen of Speed. She's got it standing in her study. That shy thing would someday succeed in filmmaking and learn to edit, produce and direct is hard to credit. Even giants start off small, an inspiration to us all. I too desire eternal glory. A moth attracted to the flame, a poet in pursuit of fame, infatuated with telling my story, never doubting at any age that words can move from page to stage. Having retired, I have no obligations. Since '93, I've had to stay at home because of examinations throughout the merry months of May and June. But now I've come to Devon to spend my birthday in 7th heaven writing songs for Emma and Kath. November sees me go to Bath for Kieran's memorial in the Abbey. Then off to meet Dan at Moniac Mall And so it continues in 24. 65 nights abroad's not too shabby. 37 in 25. Boy, it's good to be alive. I've not belonged to any region since being sent to board near Perth, only believing I was Glaswegian because it was my place of birth. I haven't been unduly worried in adult life and seldom hurried to be a part of any scene, quite happy to settle in between various camps. Now I'm deep-rooted in some weird kind of no man's land, satisfied I've been dealt a hand that's more or less perfectly suited to straddling a life of ease and doing exactly as I please. Each month has its own special flavour. Some are bright and glorious, while others are gloomy or even graver. November is notorious here in Denmark, thanks to Henrik Nordbrandt, a poet and an eccentric who's told us that it never ends if we're like him and have few friends. My friends are few and getting fewer, but still they help me rub along. I found a purpose in my song, appreciate the odd reviewer interested in my enterprise, and see no need for compromise. The muses must have got my number. They'll often catch me as I fall, either while I'm deep in slumber or when I've had no sleep at all. Perhaps they're worried lest I'll languish in mental and emotional anguish. I'm cock-a-hoop whenever they ask, glad to perform a complex task. Now all I need's a troop of fairies to come and clean my fucking flat. I'm seldom in the mood for that. I'd rather guzzle Bloody Marys, listen to the angels and skedaddle to Cloud Cuckoo Land. The sun shines brighter on your birthday. The moon comes calling all night long. They're celebrating. It's your Earth Day and crying out to hear your song. There's nothing better nor more pleasant than living in the ever-present. It's here we constantly arrive, like bees returning to the hive. What's the point of being stodgy, broken, bitter, bleak and blue? You'll often turn up some new clue, even when the outlook's dodgy. Pick up where you last left off, not caring whether others scoff.